Well, thank you, ma'am. Our history is our salvation. If we learn our history, we'll find ourselves being instructed and informed by our ancestors who we think are in the graves, but they will teach us their wisdom from the grave when we study their experiences, which is their history. And until we do that, all the money in the world will not liberate us. All the degrees in the world will not liberate us. Only a knowledge of self, and you'll remember that term when that old man said that, a knowledge of self is the primary instrument for the liberation of the black woman and man.
That's true.
That's
true. That. Thank you. I'll come back to you. Warrior Woman is our guest tonight, and she's got a lot of impactful information for you all. And that
Thank you, Warrior Woman. I'm going to try to listen to you later.
On behalf of the host. But let's see if we could go down and pick up another one here. We have 206-681. You're live with Professor Smalls. Your question or comment?
Black Power.
Black Power.
Black Power, brother.
Black Power. Well, first of all, it's a pleasure to be hearing someone like Professor James Smalls on Black Power Radio. This goes to prove that between my national staff, all the respected elders are friends. So it's a beautiful thing to hear you. I've been watching your lectures ever since you had hair, man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, sir.
No doubt. I wanted to ask a question, a two-part question.
Yes, sir.
And it's how do you think that we can go about not only one demystifying how most of our people think about about African spirituality, but also to take the stigma off it. Because I think a lot of our people, because of this brainwashing, we're made to look at our ancient spiritualities like voodoo or whatnot as demonic or evil, or we don't really feel.
A great part of self-hate comes from self-ignorance, and that's why you must start with your history. Because most of our history, we knew nothing about Christianity. Most of our history, we knew nothing about Islam. Most of our history on the earth, we knew nothing about Hebrew Israelites. Most of our history. So then the question should become then, what did we know about? You know what I'm saying? And in the recent centuries, the last 500 years since we've been in this war with Western Europe, and remember, we were in a war with the Turks and the Arabs for 1,500 years, where they had enslaved us in the Sahara slave trade and the Indian slave trade for 1,500 years before 1492. So we've been at war. And before them, we were at war with the Romans, who had enslaved us. We were at war with the Greeks, who had invaded our land with their militaries and enslaved us, and so forth, and the Turks. And so when we study our history will first tell you who were your friends and who were your enemies. The next thing history will tell you, what was the belief system of your mothers and your fathers? How did they understand the world? What we're calling African spirituality, I tend today to use the term African sacred science, because I think that describes better what our life was about. It was our mastery of the ecology and our mastery of the cosmology, and then our mastery of ourself in relationship to cosmology and ecology that produced the literature that have been plagiarized today as Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, and produced the cultures that build the great civilization of Karma, of Egypt, of Kano, of Mali, of Songhai, of Ghana, of Ethiopia, of Monomotapa, of Congo. Great civilizations we don't know anything about, and yet if we start studying our history, we can read and learn about them and go, oh my God, and Zinga in Angola wasn't just a historical anomaly. There was a civilization of African peoples in Angola based on certain principles derived from their sacred science, thousands and thousands of years of observation and contemplation with the cosmos and with the ecology and their interaction therein. science and technology is at the foundation of African culture. And these people who have plagiarized fragments of our culture want to try to make us seem primitive, and the only way they've been able to do it is to deny us access to our history. Well, we can overcome that denial now because we got all sorts of ways to access our history.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.